Hello from Cauldron of Terror, Hamas, Israel, and the World, 500 Days in Gaza. This is a series of podcasts profiling people of issues in the book Cauldron of Terror, will be available for purchase in summer 2026. The author is Mark Selinsky of Kensington Security Consulting, and in today's episode, Hotel California/Hotel Osama, we examine the sadistic games played by ISIS captors against Western captives in the Caliphate. We conclude by sharing the findings of a leading psychologist who has studied the cruelty of ISIS and Hamas. What was it like to be an ISIS captive, and how does it compare to being a captive of Hamas? It was agonizing, based on the verified accounts of those who endured captivity. Western captives were often valuable to ISIS and Hamas. They were displayed for propaganda and forced to repeat fabricated crimes. They also served as a source of sick amusement for their ISIS captors, as described in Cauldron of Terror and in Jihad and the West, Black Flag over Babylon. Among the survivors of ISIS captivity, Nicolas Henin recalled that he and others were forced to provide musical entertainment. Those in captivity were made to sing a parody of Hotel California, retitled Hotel Osama. The song had a morbid twist. "You will never leave Slash if you try, you will die." His captors were known as the Beatles because of their British accents. The 4 British ISIS recruits were cruel even by ISIS standards. They were linked to 27 abductions and the murders of 4 Americans, journalists James Foley and Stephen Sotloff, and aid workers Kayla Mueller and Peter Kassig. The Beatles starved their captors. Henin said of one American captive, "At first sight, looked like somebody at a Nazi concentration camp." As for James Foley, he suffered from intense torture and had his ribs broken. He described the Danish journalist Daniel Rye Ottesen as a shadow of a man, so badly tortured that he was mentally and physically diminished. Wounds on his wrists were so deep you could see his bones. Imprisoned Spanish journalist Javier Espinosa endured similar degradation and physical punishment. Mohammed Emwazi, known as Jihadi John, reveled in his sadism. Once, he was taunted while holding a blade to his neck.
Feel it? Cold, isn't it? Can you imagine the pain you'll feel when it cuts? Unimaginable pain. The first hit will sever your veins. The blood mixes with your saliva. The second blow opens your neck. You wouldn't be able to breathe through your nose at this stage, just through your throat. You'd make some amusing guttural sounds. I've seen it before. You all squirm like animals, like pigs. The third blow will take off your head. I'd put it on your back.
Espinosa met fellow captive American hostage Peter Kassig, an Army Ranger turned aid worker who was murdered by the Beatles. Espinosa said he suffered more than others. His account was filled with awful memories. Kassig told him, "When they realized I was American and that I had been a soldier in Iraq, they went crazy. They hung me from the roof and started beating me. They took me up to the balcony and left me hanging in the void by a foot. I thought they were going to execute me right there." Espinosa was released in March 2014 after being held captive for 194 days. Espinosa described the constant psychological torture inflicted by the Beatles. Their will to resist was broken through beatings and starvation. They were also brainwashed with a false sense of security through mock executions. Having survived pretend killings, they developed a false sense of security that made them more compliant. Dr. Jonathan Myers. Dr. Jonathan Myers has studied the Beatles and their torture, as well as Hamas. He notes the pride in the torturing, mutilation, and murdering of their victims. Even for war, these acts and the aberrant manner in which they were conducted were of an unprecedented nature. He compared them to the Hamas murders of 2023, all the while, too, displaying happiness as they carried out their heinous acts. It's an inversion of morality and the worst kind of deviant behavior. Dr. Myers explains the mindset of the Beatles and the Hamas operatives who enjoyed their slaughter in October 2023.
Sadistic personality disorder, SPD, is a condition where individuals derive pleasure, sexual or otherwise, from the humiliation or suffering of others, achieving dominance and control, or inflicting pain. Factors that promote SPD include feeling a sense of injustice in life, experiencing repeated abuse, trauma, or personal failure, or growing up in poverty and seeing no way out.
Dr. Myers opines that the Beatles and Hamas filmed the torture to create disgust, fear, and a loss of spirit in the observer. It was a performative tactic. The victims were all Satan in the terrorists' eyes, and in destroying that cosmic evil, or debasing it, they took an abnormal pride in the butchery they carried out. Upcoming episodes on the Cauldron of Terror podcasts will illuminate life as a captive for Hamas. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cauldron of Terror, Hamas, Israel, and the World. This podcast does not reflect the official position of the United States government. Until next time, goodbye from Kensington Security Consulting.